My wife said, "You lost your job, so we're in an open relationship now until you find work." That's what Melissa, my wife of 6 years, told me one Tuesday night while I was making dinner. She didn't yell. She didn't cry. She just said it like she was announcing the weather. Calm, cold, certain. I turned from the stove, spatula still in hand, wondering if I'd heard her right. At first, I laughed. Thought she was joking. But the look on her face told me everything I needed to know. She wasn't kidding. She meant every word. 3 weeks earlier, I'd been laid off from my tech job. Company downsized the entire department. It wasn't personal. Just bad timing. I'd worked there 7 years, loyal, consistent, a solid performer. The severance was decent, 6 months' pay, health coverage, a good reference. I thought we'd be fine. Melissa worked as a dental hygienist, and between her income and my severance, there was no real danger. We even talked about taking a short trip once things settled, a getaway to Seattle, a place she'd always wanted to visit. So when she dropped the open relationship line, it hit me like a truck. "Wait," I said. "What do you mean, open relationship?" She didn't look up from her phone. "It's not about money, Tom. It's about energy. The balance between us has shifted. I'm the only one working now, and you're just here, just here." I repeated. "I've been applying every day. I've got interviews next week." "That's not the point," she sighed. "You don't get it. I feel trapped. You being home all the time, it changes everything, Melissa." "It's been 3 weeks. I know," she said quietly. "But this time made me realize I need space, freedom." Then she looked me dead in the eyes. "So I've decided I want an open relationship. Just temporarily. Until you're back on your feet. There are moments when your brain just stops. You can't process the words because the reality feels too absurd." I stood there, staring at her, trying to find some sign that she was joking. But she wasn't. There was no laughter, no smirk, just calm certainty. "How long have you been thinking about this?" I asked. She hesitated. "A few days, maybe a week." "Does it matter?" "It matters," I said slowly, "because this doesn't sound like something that just came to you." She crossed her arms. "This is happening whether you like it or not. Either you agree or I leave. Your choice." I took a breath. "I understand," I said quietly. Her expression softened, as if she'd won. "So, you agree?" I said I understand, I repeated. "That's basically the same thing." "No," I said, turning back to the stove. "It's not," but she didn't care. She smiled faintly, stood, and said, "Good. I'm going out tonight. Girls' night with the office." "Okay," I said. She went upstairs. 20 minutes later, I heard the shower. When she came down, she wasn't dressed for a casual girls' night. Black dress I'd never seen. Heels, red lipstick. The kind of look that made people stare. "That's fancy for girls' night," I said, keeping my voice even. She smiled. "We're going somewhere nice, right? Don't wait up." And then she was gone. I sat on the couch for an hour, staring at the blank TV. The house felt impossibly quiet. Then I remembered the asterisk. Ring doorbell camera, asterisk. We'd installed it 6 months earlier after a package got stolen. It recorded every motion by the front door. I opened the app. My hands were trembling before I even knew why. Scrolled through the recent clips. Monday. 3:41 a.m. Melissa arrives home. Not her car. Black SUV. She leans into the window, kisses the driver, laughs, walks inside. Friday, 4:12 a.m. Silver sedan. Another man. Another kiss. Wednesday, 3:57 a.m. Red pickup. Same story. 3 nights. 3 cars. 3 different men. My stomach dropped. It wasn't that she wanted an open relationship. She'd already started one. The open part was just her way of making it official after the fact. A way to rewrite the past so she didn't have to feel guilty. She wasn't asking for freedom. She was asking for forgiveness in advance. That night, I didn't sleep. I just sat there, watching every clip again and again, memorizing faces, timestamps, her laughter. By morning, I knew what I had to do. I made coffee, opened my laptop, and downloaded every clip from the Ring app. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Each file saved neatly into a folder titled Melissa. Open relationship evidence. I didn't know my next move yet. But one thing was certain. She had no idea what kind of storm she'd just started. For the next few days, I said nothing. Not a word about the Ring footage. Not a question about where she went. Not even a hint that I knew. I smiled when she came home late, cooked dinner, cleaned up, acted normal, because sometimes silence is the sharpest weapon. By Friday, Melissa had grown bold, too bold. She'd come home at 2 or 3 a.m., humming to herself, smelling like cologne that wasn't mine. Once, she even giggled as she passed me on the couch. "Don't stay up for me, okay?" she said. "I won't," I replied softly, eyes still on my laptop. She didn't realize I was saving another file. Ring_clip_1104.mp4. 2 weeks later, I had a folder full of 21 clips, each one dated, time-stamped, and labeled by the car model and color. And in that time, I'd also been making calls to lawyers, to real estate agents, to the bank. Melissa thought she was living in freedom. I was quietly building an escape plan. It all came to a head one Saturday morning. She stumbled into the kitchen, wearing one of my shirts, her makeup still smudged. She looked tired, but satisfied. "Morning," she said casually, pouring coffee. "Morning," I said. "Late night?" She froze for just a second. "Yeah, the girls wanted to hang out after karaoke." "The girls?" I asked, looking at her. She nodded quickly. "Yeah, Ashley and Jen." I smiled. "Good, I'm glad you had fun." She relaxed, smiled back. "See, this open thing, it's working. You seem calmer lately." "I am," I said. "I've been doing a lot of thinking." She tilted her head. "About what?" "About trust," I said slowly. "And truth." Her smile faded. "What's that supposed to mean?" I turned my phone toward her and hit play. The Ring video filled the screen. Melissa laughing as she leaned into the window of a black SUV. The driver's hand brushed her cheek. Then they kissed long, slow, deliberate. She froze. Color drained from her face. "Tom, that's not." I swiped. Another video. A different car. Different man. Another kiss. "Stop," she said, voice cracking, but I didn't. Clip after clip played, each one undeniable. Finally, I stopped and set the phone down. "You said you needed freedom," I said quietly. "You already had it. You just wanted me to approve of it after the fact." Her jaw tightened. "You're invading my privacy." "Privacy," I repeated. "This is our home, Melissa. That camera's for security, not infidelity." She glared at me. "You were spying on me." "No," I said, standing up. I was watching my wife walk out of our marriage. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then she laughed bitterly. "You're pathetic," she said. "No wonder you got fired. You're weak. You sit around all day playing detective instead of doing something with your life." Something inside me finally broke. But it wasn't anger, it was clarity. "You're right," I said. "I did sit around. But I've been busy lately. I've been moving things around." "What things?" "Our finances," I said evenly. "The savings account. The joint credit cards. The mortgage." Her eyes widened. "What are you talking about?" "I'm talking about separation," I said. "You wanted freedom. You'll get it." She laughed again, but it sounded nervous now. "You wouldn't dare." "I already did," I said. "Check your phone. I sent you something." She looked down, unlocked her screen, and her face went white. It was an email from my attorney. Subject line: "Notice of marital separation and asset review." Tom, she whispered. You can't. I can, I said. And I did. She sat down slowly, eyes glossy. So that's it. You're just walking away. I shrugged. You already did. I'm just catching up. For once, she didn't have a comeback. She just sat there, shaking. After a long silence, she muttered, You're going to regret this. I smiled faintly. I doubt it. Then I picked up my coffee, walked to the door, and left. I didn't go far, just to the park near our house. Sat on a bench, breathing in the morning air. The world felt quieter, lighter. When I looked at my phone, there was one new message from her. I'm sorry. Please come home. We can fix this. I didn't reply. Instead, I opened my gallery, selected the folder Melissa Open Relationship Evidence, and hit delete, not for her, for me, because I'd realized something simple, something painful, but freeing. You don't win by exposing someone else's lies. You win by no longer living inside them. 3 weeks passed. The house was empty now. Melissa had moved out, half her things gone, half left behind. Like she couldn't decide whether she was leaving or waiting for me to call her bluff. I didn't. I'd signed the papers. Met with my lawyer. Changed the locks. The silence felt strange at first, but I started to enjoy it. Waking up without walking on eggshells. Cooking for one. Breathing. I told myself it was over. But then, one morning, an email landed in my inbox. Subject, thought you should know. From Daniel Wright. My stomach dropped. Daniel Wright, my former boss. The same one who'd fired me 6 weeks ago when the company downsized. I opened the email. Tom, I didn't want to get involved in your personal life, but I thought you should hear this from me. Melissa's been coming to the office. Often. It started before the layoffs. I didn't realize it until now. I'm sorry. There was a photo attached. Melissa, at Daniel's desk. Laughing, head tilted. His hand on hers. Time stomp. 3 weeks before I lost my job. I stared at that photo for a long time. Everything clicked. The way Daniel had avoided eye contact the day he told me the company was cutting back. The sudden coldness from HRMELISSAS, distant tone that same week. It wasn't just bad timing, it was orchestrated. She wasn't reacting to my unemployment. She caused it that night. I sat at my desk with a whiskey glass and a folder full of receipts, emails, screenshots, copies of the company policy manual. If there's one thing 7 years in tech taught me, it's how to dig within 2 hours. I had what I needed. Company correspondence showing that Daniel had recommended my termination due to conflict of interest. The conflict. Melissa, he'd listed her name. He'd claimed I was distracted at work due to domestic issues. He'd covered his tracks, but not well enough. The next morning, I called an old friend from the IT department, someone Daniel had conveniently overlooked during layoffs. Hey Tom, he said. Heard about what happened. You okay? I'm fine, I said. But I need a favor. Off the record? By noon, I had screenshots of Daniel's company emails. Private ones. Messages between him and Melissa. Daniel, he's starting to suspect something. You need to keep him calm until HR finalizes. Melissa, he still thinks it's just downsizing. I'll distract him. Daniel, good. You'll be free soon. The last message was dated 3 days before I was fired. I didn't get angry. I got quiet. I took the evidence, forwarded it to the company's legal department, and attached a short note. This is not a lawsuit yet, but it will be if you don't address the ethics violations and wrongful termination immediately. Then I waited. 2 days later, the HR director called me personally. Daniel had been asked to resign. They offered me a settlement 6 figures, confidentiality agreement, and a formal apology. I accepted the money, not the apology. A week later, Melissa called. I didn't answer at first, but the messages kept coming. Please, Tom, I didn't mean for it to go that far. He promised me things, said he'd help you. Can we meet? Eventually, curiosity got the better of me. I agreed to one meeting. Neutral ground, a coffee shop near the old office. She looked different, tired, smaller somehow. Tom, she said, voice trembling. I'm sorry. I was stupid. I thought Daniel cared about me. But after you were fired, he had ghosted me for a while. Then it all fell apart. I said nothing. He's gone now, she added. I lost my job too. Maybe we could. No, I said quietly. She blinked. What? No, Melissa. There's no we. You burned that bridge and danced on the ashes. Her eyes filled with tears. You don't have to hate me. I don't, I said. I just don't care anymore. I stood up, left a few dollars on the table, and walked out. The November air felt cold, but clean. As I crossed the street, I felt my phone buzz. One new message from my lawyer. Settlement cleared. Funds transferred. I smiled for the first time in months. The feeling of financial and emotional finality was overwhelming. I knew I needed to process it, not just for myself, but to warn others. The title came to me easily. My wife said, "You lost your job. So we're in an open relationship now." I wrote every detail. The night she confessed. The ring videos. The betrayal. The boss. The quiet revenge. I posted it online under an anonymous account. By morning, it had gone viral. Thousands of comments. People calling it the most satisfying revenge story they'd ever read. I closed my laptop, poured a coffee, and watched the sun rise from my balcony. Freedom doesn't always come from forgiveness. Sometimes, it comes from finally telling your truth, found walking away without looking back.